Hello and welcome to episode, almost said the wrong number, 76 of Out of State DMing. I'm your host, lluksblackheart, and joining me today is my co host, Birkin. We are going to be finishing our discussion on spell. Well, doing more of a discussion on spells, but we're still on bees. And we're going to be starting off with Big B's third spell in his collection of hand-based spells, Big B's Forceful Hand. Evocation Force, level 6 Sorcerer Wizard. Components: verbal, semantic, and focus. Just like pretty much all his spells, this spell functions like Big B's interposing hand, except the Forceful Hand presses and pushes away the opponent that you designate. Treat the attack as a bull rush with a plus 14 on strength checks, 8 from strength, 4 from being large, and a plus 2 from charging, which is it always gets. The hand always moves with the opponent to push that target back to full distance allowed and has no speed limit. Directing the spell to a new target is a move action. A very strong creature could not push the hand, but push hand out of its way because the latter would instantly reposition itself between the creature and you. But an opponent could push the hand up against you by successfully bull rushing it. Focus: a sturdy glove made of leather or heavy cloth. So just like the 9th level spell and the 8th level spell, this is pretty much another I'm going to push you. But unlike the other bigger ones, it doesn't do damage. It's all about shoving your opponent away from you. And the big theme for all of Big B's spells, or hand spells, is they're pretty much social distancing. No, this is my no square. Goose, get back up. No. Sorry, my dog's deciding to actually crawl into his cubbyhole because he noticed that I was giving attention to the cat. And he wants to be the only one getting attention. Isn't that right, Goose? No. But I was saying it's all about keeping opponents back. If you have any questions about Big B's Forceful Hand, please leave a comment. The fourth spell in this line is Big B's Grasping Hand. Evocation Force, 7th level.
Fetish need to calm down.
The what?
Big B and his fucking hand fetish need to calm down.
Oh, he has 5 of these spells. This is just number 4. He has a thing for hands.
Big B and his fucking hand. Big B and his hand fetish needs to calm down.
Yeah. It is a 7th level sorcerer wizard spell, 7th level strength domain spell. Components are verbal, semantic, focus / divine focus. And just like the rest of them, it functions just like his interposing hand spell, except that it can grapple an opponent. So each round, it gets to maintain that grapple. And it uses your cast level plus your intelligence, well, corresponding caster stat, because intelligence for wizards, wisdom for clerics, charisma for sorcerers. With a plus 10 from its strength and a minus 1 for being so it prints out bonus and things just for grappling the opponent. It can't damage the opponent because this entire thing is, I'm going to grab you. It can also do the pushing, like the other spell. So, keeping the theme with his spells, it's I'm either going to keep the enemy entertained by grabbing them or by pushing them away from me. Uh, if you have any questions about uh, this spell, Bigby's Grasping Hand, please leave a comment. Now we're getting to the very last hand, Bigby's Interposing Hand. This is the base.
Calm down with his fucking tickle fingers.
Yeah, with his pickle fingers. It's an evocation force, 5th level wizard sorcerer spell. Components: verbal semantic focus, casting time, standard action, range, medium, effect, a 10-foot hand, duration 1 round per level, saving throws none, spell resistance yes. Description: Bigby's interposing hand creates a large magical hand that appears between you and one opponent. This floating, disembodied hand then moves uh, to moves to remain between you and the target, regardless of
I
where
made it.
Move. Yes, LadyCelt made it. We're finishing off the someone has a hand fetish. No matter how the opponent tries to get around it, kind of like how Bigby can't get around the accusations of him loving hands. And it provides you a +4 AC bonus against that said opponent, which pretty much breaks down to any time that opponent does anything to target your AC, you get a +4 bonus to your AC because the hand is literally giving you that cover. It strikes with the selected opponent in spite of darkness, invisibility, polymorphing, or any other attempt at hiding or disguising. The hand does not pursue an opponent, however. Bigby's hand is 10 feet long and about that wide with its fingers outstretched. It has just as many hit points as you do when undamaged and has an AC 20. It takes damage as a normal creature, but most magical effects that don't cause damage do not affect it. The hand never provokes attacks of opportunity from opponents. It cannot push through a wall force or enter an anti-magic field, but it suffers the full effects of a prismatic wall or prismatic spray. The hand makes several throws as if it makes saving throws as its caster. Disintegrate or successful dispel magic destroys it. Any creature weighing 2,000 pounds or less that tries to push past the hand is slowed at half its normal speed. The hand cannot reduce the speed of a creature weighing more than 2,000 pounds, but it still affects the creature's attacks. Directing the spell to a new target is a move action. Focus: a soft glove. So this is the foundation spell for a lot of his other hands, like the forceful hand, the grasping hand, the crushing hand, and the clenched fist. So the duration, range, size, and base effects all are there, with the slight adjustments of what they can do and what the bonuses they get for those things. But Interposing Hand is still probably a really great spell if you can get over the hilariousness that Bigby has a hand fetish for very effective, very big hands. So he might actually still have a thing for giants, apparently, because this isn't just a normal hand, it's a very, very massive hand. But if you have any questions or questions for Bigby's Interposing Hand, please leave a comment. Since we've finished all 5 of his spells that are focused on hands, do you guys have any opinions you wish to share about the wow, that's a weird fetish for Bigby's?
Actually, Usually, what it is that he's spent a lot of time wishing he could slap somebody across the room, and so when he gained the ability, he made it so that could happen. That's my thought, anyway.
He saw Mage Hand and went, "There's potential.
Yep.
Just give me a few decades to focus on this. Here's these spells now. My legacy is pimp slapping." Uh, but it's still funny that his five big spells for the book are all hands.
Yeah,
Um,
the guy had an interest, let's just say.
very unique interest. Yeah. Um, does Bacon want to add any other commentary? I can feel you retaining or resisting the urge to make fun of him. And he dropped out. He's probably having a connection problem. Can you hear us
Yeah, no,
now?
100%. 100. Oh, I heard you just fine. You couldn't hear me apparently.
No, we couldn't. At least I couldn't.
My thing there was is that I feel like Bigby didn't have his hands. Maybe they were cut off, and he needed a way to finger his partner, and maybe launch her across the room or him, depending on which way Bigby swung. I'm not here to judge.
Well, as much as I want to agree with that, there's two upstanding factors that argue it. One, he had access to individuals that could have got his hand backs, and two, all of the spells are semantic, which means they need the hand gestures. So if he has no hands, he can't cast the spells without.
All right, well, maybe he was just really kinky. He was just really into some rough play.
That's one way of putting it. But you can't say it's weird. But all of the named mages have weirdness involved with a bunch of their different spells. Uh, but the next spell we're getting to is Binding. Nice segue. Enchantment, Compulsion, Mind Affecting. Level 8 Sorcerer Wizard. Components: verbal, semantic, material. Casting time 1 minute. Range close. Target one living creature. Duration: see text. Saving throw will negate. See text. Saving throw. Spell resistance. Yes. Description, and there is a lot here. A binding spell creates a magical restraint to hold a creature. The target gets an initial saving throw only if its hit dice is equal least at least one half of your caster level, which this is an 8th level spell, so that there's a good chance it's not going to be in their favor. You may have as many as 6 assistants help you with this spell. For each assistant who casts Suggestion, your caster level for the casting of Binding increases by 1. For each assistant who casts Dominate, Dominate Animal, Dominate Person, or Dominate Monster, your caster level for this casting of Binding increases by a number equal to 1/3 of assistant's level, provided that the spell's target is appropriate for the Binding spell. Since the assistant spells are cast simply to improve your caster level for the purpose of the Binding spell, saving throws and spell resistance against the assistant spells are irrelevant. Your caster level determines whether the target gets an initial saving throw and how long the binding lasts. All binding spells are dismissible. Regardless of the various of bindings you cast, You can specifically trigger conditions that end the spell and release the creature when they occur. These triggers can be as simple or elaborate as you desire, but the DM must agree that the condition is reasonable and has a likelihood of coming to pass. The conditions can be based on a creature's name, identity, or alignment, but otherwise must be based on observable actions or qualities. Intangibles such as level, class, hit dice, or hit points don't qualify. For example, a bonded creature can be released when a lawful good creature approaches, but not when a paladin approaches. Once the spell is cast, its trigger condition cannot be changed. Setting to release condition increase the saving. Yeah. Setting a release condition increases the save DC, assuming a saving throw is allowed, by 2. If you are casting any of the first 3 versions of Binding, those with limited duration, you may cast additional binding spells to prolong the effect. Since the duration overlaps, if you do so, the target gets a saving throw at the end of the first spell's duration, even if your caster level was high enough to disallow an initial saving throw. If the creature succeeds on the save, all binding spells it has received are broken. The binding spell has 6 versions. Choose one of the following versions when you cast the spell. When I said there's a lot to the spell, I am not lying. Chaining. The subject is confined by restraints that generate an antipathy spell affecting all creatures who approach the subject except you. The duration is 1 year per caster level. The subject of this form of binding is confined to the spot it occupied when they received the spell. Slumber. The version causes the subject to become comatose for as long as 1 year per caster level. The subject does not need to eat or drink while slumbering, nor does it age. This form of binding is more difficult to cast than chaining, slightly easier to resist. Reduce the spell DC by 1. Bound Slumber. This combination of chain and slumber lasts for as long as 1 month per caster level. Reduce the save DC by 2. Hedge Prison. The subject is transported to or otherwise brought within a confined area, such as a labyrinth, from which it cannot wander by any means. This effect is permanent. Reduce the save DC by 3. Metamorphosis. The subject assumes gaseous form, except for its head or face. It is held harmlessly in a jar or another container, which may be transparent if you choose. The creature remains aware of its surroundings and can speak, but it cannot leave the container, attack, or use any of its powers or abilities. This binding is permanent. The subject does not need to breathe, eat, or drink while metamorphed, nor does it age. Reduce the save DC by 4.
So wait a second here. You're telling me I could turn myself into a head for Halloween and scare the shit out of people?
Well, if you cast it on yourself and forgo the saving throw, yes, you could trap yourself as a ghostly head in a jar, and you could set a reasonable condition like you get released at in the morning sun, rays of the morning sun. So it's a time thing. So throughout pretty much this entire day, once you get hit by rays of the morning sun, you get released. So you get to scare people by going, I'm a spooky ghostly head, but you're stuck in a container.
Didn't
Uh,
stutter.
yeah, well, I know you didn't stutter. Uh, but you could also do it to multiple other entities. You just have to recast it multiple times. So you can have a collection of jars dangling around your porch every Halloween, with like the release condition being a pure maiden approaches. And to technically qualify for that, children don't count, so don't even go there with that one. But it's still one of those sacrifice-worthy entities needs to show up in order for them to actually be released. So you're hoping on the goodness and well-being of people in order for them to be released. Which conveniently is also the same general condition to automatically be considered friends to a frickin' unicorn. Uh, but that's just one of the versions. There's minimus containment. The subject is shrunk to a height of 1 inch or even less and held within some gem, jar, or similar object. The binding is permanent. The subject does not need to breathe, eat, or drink while contained, nor does it age. Reduce the safety C by 4. You can't dispel a binding spell with dispel magic or similar effects, though an anti magic field or Mordecai's injunction effect it normally. A bound explainer creature cannot be sent back to its home plane due to dismissal, banishment, or similar effects. Components. The components for a binding spell vary according to the version of the spell, but they always include a continuous chanting, uttering, read from the scrolls or spellbook page gaining the spell, semantic gestures, and materials appropriate for the form of binding used. Those components can include such items as miniature chairs, chairs of specific material, silver for lycanthropes, cold iron for demons, and so forth. So, soporific herbs of the rare sorts for slumbering binding, a bell jar for the finest of the finest crystal, and the like. In addition to specific made props suited for the specific type of binding, cost 500 gold pieces. The spell requires opal worth at least 500 gold pieces for each hit die of the target and a volume depiction or carved statue of the subject to be captured. So you pretty much have to go out of your way to get a really expensive opal statue and 500 worth of other ingredients in order to actually bind this person. So somewhere from 1,000 to a couple thousand. Goose, you need to move. Gold pieces just to bind them. And some of the binding things, like it said, are last years, while other ones can be made permanent. So you kind of have options. Do you guys have any comments about this spell before we move on?
I do not.
If you have any questions about the spell binding, please leave a comment. Dun, dun, dun. The next spell is probably one of my favorite spells, mainly because I like to use it to irritate people. Blade Barrier. Evocation Force. Level 6 Cleric. Good. It's also level 6 Good Domain and War Domain spell. Components, verbal semantic. Casting time, standard action, range, medium. Effect, wall of whirling blades up to 20 feet long per level, or a ring of whirling blades with a radius up to 5 feet per 2 levels. Either forms 20 feet high. Duration 1 minute per caster level. Saving throw, reflex for half or reflex innate, see description. Spell resistance, yes. Description. An immovable vertical curtain of whirling blades shaped of pure force springs into existence. Any creature passing through the wall takes a die 6 of damage per cast level to maximum 15 die 6 with a reflex saving throw for half damage. If you invoke the barrier so that the appropriate if you invoke the barrier so that it appears where creatures are, each creature takes damage as if passing through the wall. Each such creature can avoid the wall and ending up on the side of its choosing, and thus take no damage by making a successful reflex saving throw. A blade barrier provides cover, +4 to AC, +2 to reflex saving throws, against attacks made through it. This is pretty much here's a wall of Shredder. Anything passed through it, it's going to get lots of damage. And because it's a 6th level spell, one of 2 meta magic feats you have can be applied to it, such as Maximize or Empower, or you can get the rods to do so. But it is really good offensively and defensively because it's a literal wall of blades that damages anything that tries to go through it. And at the end of each day, that's really good. So you can force an enemy to go where you want, because if they go through it, they take lots of damage. Or you can force an opponent to stay fighting you because, hey, if they go to leave, they're taking damage. And if they're trying not to take damage, well, they have to choose fight you or take damage. Or in most parties' case, fight the party tanks or run through a wall and take damage, because the caster can simply on their turn go, I dismiss it, now we can all go chasing after you again. When it comes defensively, you can use it to stop creatures from trying to get to you. There's a lot of things don't want to take damage, or if they're not necessarily super intelligent, they're going to probably not survive taking a crap ton of damage getting through. Anything targeting you or your allies through it with ranged attacks, or trying to use reach, which counts as passing through it, so they're taking damage trying to hit you with a reach, you get a +4 to your AC bonus. So it's super great for that. And I'm pretty sure Bacon's thinking of evil ways to use this spell.
Probably.
This is not your fault the birding villagers ran through the wall.
It is not. It will never be my fault. And you can't prove that it is.
I mean, there's only going to be witnesses to you casting the spell. But you cast it to defend them, not to harm them.
That's why I cast. That's why I always like to perform heavy stealth. There's no witnesses if they're all dead.
Yeah. No witnesses if they're all dead. But if you have any questions about Blade Barrier, please leave a comment. The next spell is a spell that always gets people in trouble because it's an evil spell. Blasphemy. It is a evocation evil sonic. When I say it gets a lot of people in trouble, there is a lot of people that believe that, hey, if I have the option of casting a spell, I shouldn't get penalized for casting the spell because I have the options of casting the spell, despite the fact they're supposed to be the good guys and they're casting evil spells. Blasphemy is a 7th level cleric evil domain spell. Components, verbal. Casting time, standard, range 30 feet. Area, non-evil creatures in a 40-foot radius, spread centered on you. Duration, instantaneous. Saving throw, none or will save neglects. See, neglects. Negates. See text. Saving throw, yes. Description. Any non-evil creature with inside the area of a blasphemy spell suffers the following ill effects. Hit die equal to caster level. Dazed. Up to caster level -1. Weakened and dazed. Up to caster level -5. Paralyzed, weakened, and dazed. The fourth effect, up to caster level -10, meaning if they're 10 levels or 10 levels or greater in difference between the caster and the affected creatures. They are killed, paralyzed, weakened, and dazed. Now, if you're probably wondering why they're paralyzed, weakened, and dazed if they're killed, well, it's because they're getting hit by all the effects, and it's overkill. The effects are cumulative and concurrent. No saving throw is allowed against these effects. Dazed. The creature takes no action for 1 round, though it defends itself normally. Weakened. The creature's strength score decreases by 2 die 6 for 2 die 4 rounds. Paralyzed. The creature is paralyzed and helpless for 10 minutes. Killed. Living creatures die. Undead creatures are destroyed. Furthermore, if you are on your home plane when you cast this spell, non-evil extraplanar creatures within the area are instantly banished back to their home plane. Creatures are so banished cannot return for at least 24 hours. This effect takes place regardless of whether the creature hears the blasphemy. The banishment effect allows a saving throw at a -4 penalty to negate it. Creatures whose hit dice exceed your own caster level are unaffected by it. Sit down. Pretty much meaning you only have to worry about high hit die creatures. So if you're too low level, you're not going to affect like a Tarask because it has way too many hit points. But it does mean you can affect a lot of other creatures. And this is one of those spells that does affect pretty much everything that's able to be affected by dazed, weakened, paralyzed, or killed. So the only real thing... Goose, no. When we're done with the podcast. So with the exception of constructs, this spell works on everything and anything. These constructs don't care about some of the effects listed. So unless this creature specifically says it's immune to such things, blasphemy just gives it the big finger. And it also works against undead, which will make a lot of people happy. But it is an evil spell, which means casting it switches your alignment. So when I say this spell gets a lot of people in trouble, it's they look at the effect and think it's okay. It's because they're using it to defeat the bad guys. But because D&D has the stigma of bad guys use bad things to do what they're doing. Good guys don't use bad things. If a good guy uses a bad thing, they are no longer a good guy, they are a bad guy. Blasphemy is one of those spells that...
I will 100% always be the one to co-sign this, is that sometimes you need to do bad things to be a good person, and I will 100% stand by that always. I have proven that time and time again in D&D, is that sometimes you just have to be a bad guy.
Well, sometimes it takes a bad guy to defeat a bad guy. And that's something a lot of people don't necessarily understand.
I have foreverly been one of the worst when it comes to D&D.
Yeah. But a big thing a lot of people don't get is because this is a cleric spell, in order for a non-cleric to cast it, you have to pretty much get lucky with an item or get scrolls. But because it's an evil spell, any cleric of good alignment can't actually cast this spell directly. Because you cannot prepare spells for casting that are opposed to your god's alignment. And by circumstance, your own alignment. So if your god is good, you can't cast evil spells. If your god is some form of neutral, while it's lawful neutral or chaotic neutral, then okay, yeah, you can technically dive the evil spells if you kind of are on the evil side of the god's mentality. But casting the spell does make you evil. So if you're a good aligned cleric, let's say Paylor, because he's lawful good, you get this spell through another means, and because you're appropriate level cleric, you don't have problems casting it. You cast it off of that item. Well, you're no longer a cleric of Paylor because you're now evil and therefore not one of his. Because there's lines, you crossed it. So leave it up to the evil clerics or evil party members. Goose? Mom is not home. I know you heard something outside. Stop. Yeah. Not to mention the fact there is a good guy version of this spell, so there's really no need to dive down into the spell that's going to wreck your alignment, because we will eventually get to the good guy version of this spell. Because yes, there is a good guy version of this spell. Trust me, it exists. Do you two have any comments you want to say about blasphemy?
No.
Well, for those watching, if you have any questions about blasphemy, please leave a comment. The next spell is a spell that I get weird looks when I tell people they need to practice.
Jacob.
Yeah?
Jacob.
Yeah?
Can you hear LadyCelt talking?
No?
Okay, she was just asking about blasphemy. LadyCelt, you may have to leave and come back like I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I can hear you, but apparently Jacob can't.
No, I can't. I sometimes hate Discord. Can you say something now?
Yeah, okay, I'm back. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can. Yay!
Okay. No, I was saying that if you are good and you cast blasphemy, it changes you to evil.
Yes.
Okay, just wanted to make sure that I had that understood.
Yeah. A cornerstone of D&D is there's that alignment line that you can tippy-toe on it all day long, as long as you're not doing stuff that's directly going to make you go over it. Blasphemy is one of those spells that you're not on the line anymore. You're crossing the line because it's a direct evil spell. The only things that aren't the only things that are immune to this spell directly are evil creatures, which means you're targeting everything that's good or neutral when it comes to good or evil.
Okay, so if you're neutral, it changes you to evil as well?
Yeah, if you are non-evil, you become evil because of this because this is a direct evil act. It's not a minor evil act, it's not a lesser evil act, it's not a I get it to save someone. It's a AoE centered on you. Every single thing that is not evil is getting bent over by some degree, especially if you're a high level caster casting it, because if there's 10 or greater difference between your caster level and its hit die, it's dead. Just flat out dead. And it goes off of your effective caster level. So if you have something, like for instance in my Thursday campaign I'm running, the party cleric has something that greatly boosts his effective caster level. If he were to decide to, when he got access to 7th level spells, to go, I'm going to dive into this spell here. When he casts it, he's going to be killing a large amount of the party because they're not going to have the levels needed to counteract his. And the ones that survive are being paralyzed, weakened, and dazed. And there's only like one party member that's not actually going to be super affected by it because of what their current level is. But at the end of the day, if he decides to use this spell, he may go, yay, this is great. I'm defeating the enemy. But it's like, oh, now you're directly evil. Your god technically doesn't care because it's a chaotic, neutral god that doesn't care that you're evil or not. Because it's the goddess of lies. But go ahead, have fun with it. While the rest of the party gets to look at him and go, there was multiple people that didn't have the levels to not instantly die. Yay.
And then you get those players that are like, that sounds like a them problem.
Yeah, it does. But the only person that would actually survive it hasn't been able to show up recently, so it's going to be pretty much a complete party wipe if he does this. And it's just going to end up being him fighting whatever they're fighting, and since they're fighting evil things, he's pretty much going to be doing the bad guy's job for them. And then looking at the party as the party goes, great, while you bring us back alive or not, we're going to hate you.
I could see why.
Yeah, because any spell that directly says, hey, if you're not this, you're suffering this, boom. And because it has no saving throw, well, you're kind of boned, and the only way to get a saving throw is to not be up from that plane of existence, and the saving throw is to get banished back to your home plane. So the only way to be 100% safe from a blasphemy is to hope that their effective caster level is lower than your hit point, well, your total hit die, which is not always easy.
I can imagine it's not.
Yeah. But do you guys have any other commentary about blasphemy?
Nope, can't.
Can't say it, you do. Okay, yay. The next spell, like I said, is a spell that a lot of people are giving me weird looks about me going, you should probably have this, is Bless. It is an enchantment, compulsive mind affecting spell. Cast level, first level cleric, first level paladin. Components, verbal, semantic, divine focus. Casting times, 1 standard action. Range, 50 feet. Area, the caster and all its allies within 50 feet burst, centered on the caster. Duration, 1 minute per level, so it lasts a long time. That's 10 rounds per effective caster level. Saving throw, none. Spell resistance, yes, harmless. Description, fills your allies with courage. Each ally gains a +1 morale bonus on attack rolls and saving throws against fear effects. Bless counters and dispels Bane. Meaning, as long as your allies stay within 50 feet of you, for the duration of the spell, well, actually, no, they don't necessarily have to stay within range of you. It's a burst spell, boom. So as long as they're within that range when you drop the Bless, for 1 minute per caster level, they're getting a +1 to all their attack rolls. Which, for those playing at home, when you're low level, any bonus really helps. And this affects...
I was going to say, I love Bless. It's one of my favorites.
Yeah, it affects the caster and all of his allies. And it specifically says allies, meaning there is no, well, what you didn't realize was there was these 3 assassins hiding right here. You didn't see them, so now they get the. It's like they're not my allies. Therefore, they don't get the benefits of the spell because it's an ally self and ally only spell. So there's no accidentally buffing the bad guy. It's also one of those things that if you don't consider another party member an ally, you just go, he's part of the party, but he's not an ally. Well, Bless doesn't work on him because you don't consider him an ally, so the spell doesn't consider him an ally. And yes, I've seen people get baited in arguments because of it. It's like, why don't I get it? It's like, because I hate you, our gods are mortal enemies, and, yeah, you've tried to kill me twice this campaign already, so no, I'm not going to consider you an ally at all. So any of my ally buffing spells aren't going to work on you because you're not an ally. Yes, I am. Then why'd you try to kill me? Well, because we're opposing God. Say, thank you for announcing that we are not the same side. Yes, that's a real conversation that has taken place more than once in my around 30 years of playing. It's like, don't be a dick if you want benefits from other party members. And then don't further be a dick when you don't get those benefits. Because, like, again, if you've tried to kill someone multiple times and the person knows you've tried to do it, they're not going to consider you an ally or even a friend.
Well, yeah, most people wouldn't.
There's a lot of people that for some reason can't grasp that. Do you guys have any additional commentary you want to add to Bless?
I can hear you. Jacob, can you hear Bacon?
It's doing it again.
Okay.
Hey, it's not a out-of-state damning podcast without someone having a technical problem.
Well, you have to have the out-of-state problems in order to have the out-of-state podcast.
Yeah, and since we're all in separate states... Yes, Goose, you heard the thing. Okay, now both of you try saying something.
Jacob, can you hear LadyCelt?
No,
well,
you
leave the fucking call this time and come back.
Okay, let me try this.
Get out. All right, so now we can talk about him now. Oh shit, he's already back. Never mind.
Yeah, he's back.
Yeah, I can hear both of you. I'm gonna leave my camera off for a moment just to see if that helps.
Okay.
But Bacon, what was your commentary? Oh no. Can you hear him, LadyCelt?
Yes, I can.
Apparently having my camera off doesn't... It only wants one of you to speak.
Okay, he said he quits.
Shit sucks.
Not my fault. I'm not the one that's controlling this.
I don't know. I have no idea. Discord's been fucky. It's been doing this to me the last week now. And I don't know why. Just being racist. Yes, I said it. Discord is being racist.
Okay.
Because it doesn't like me because I'm fat and white.
Rolling straight over that and hoping everyone understands that's a joke.
It is a joke. Relax. Don't get butthurt. It's okay, world.
Is LadyCelt able to actually be heard?
Yeah, by me. Apparently not by you.
Well, this is very inconvenient.
I think it's time to cut the podcast short today because evidently nobody can hear each other anymore.
This only wants one of you guys to hear.
Oh, you
Uh,
can only hear one of us at a time.
yeah, and it's very inconvenient for well, me and the listeners.
I think I honestly, Jay, Lux, I'd probably cut this one short since we're starting to have problems now.
Yeah, I like cutting problems before it makes everything worse. But that being said, we will be ending it short due to technical problems. So for all those who uh, are watching, thank you for watching. For all those who see this, thank you for watching. And remember to like and subscribe. And we will hopefully see you next week for not so many technical problems.